Fight Night Podcast. Hosted by The Plan, Zashman. The Victorian, Brother Brutus Valentine. And everyone's favorite man, all up in smoke, Duarte the Pont. Ladies and gentlemen, they're ready to rumble, so let's go to the studio. Take it away, Zashman.
Welcome everybody to LJN Fight Night Podcast. We're back on Andre the Giant's birthday today. Duarte the Pont.
That's right. That is his birthday.
It is his birthday today.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, that's right. I seen a post at Rob Careport. Yeah, it is his birthday. Good for him. How old would he have been? In the 70s, 80s?
If anyone knows who's watching, please comment. Let us know how old Andre would be today. I don't know. Maybe Rob put it on his post. I didn't notice that.
Well, today I'm in a different layer. I'm in a toy building area, which is my garage. As you can see, everything is behind me. The acetone, the sprays, beheaded figures about to get painted, everything. I had to change it up because in my spare room where I usually do it is my girlfriend's office too. And last Friday when she walked into the office in the morning time, she's like, "It's basically an up and smoke tour." It was still smoky in the whole room because I closed the door. So when she went into the office first thing in the morning, she's like, "I got punched in the face by smoke." I'm like, "Fine." She goes, "Next week you're doing it in the garage." I'm like, "All right, fine."
There, Brian Bravington from LJN for Life Down Under Facebook group. If you guys are on Facebook, have a look at them. LJN for Life Down Under. They're a great group. Brian Bravington and Jason Ferrugio runs it. He says Andre would have been 76 today. So thank you, Brian. He's
about age of Hogan and like Flair, I would assume, because I think Flair's in the 70s.
Probably. Maybe a touch older. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there it is. There's his age. We've got two fantastic guests coming on today. Unfortunately, we don't have Brutus with us joining us today because he's just too busy with work and he's focusing on the least important thing of the week. And also Kevin Swales, who will hopefully be joining us as the show goes on, but is having a few internet issues himself.
Technical difficulties.
But today we've got some special guests. Would you like to introduce the guests today? I don't have a video for them, Duarte, but you can just bring them on if you like.
Okay, first one we have is Paul Rossetti. He's a former wrestler. He's also a big, huge LJN collector, customs and everything. And bring him on, Paul Rossetti. He's a former wrestler from Montreal. There he is.
How you boys doing tonight?
Not bad. Yourself?
Welcome to the podcast.
Well, it's freezing tonight. Last week it was beautiful and it's freezing, but it is Canada, right?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say today. Well, here it's not. I'm wearing shorts right now, but I'm also in my garage. But it was not that cold today here in Toronto.
We got wicked rain today, actually, and
nice. And Rosenberg, that's your gimmick name, no?
That's right. I always use the name Paul Rosenberg. I went through a different few gimmicks, but I always used Rosenberg. I wanted to keep 3/4 of my real name, and I found a way to do it.
I think that's what a lot of wrestlers do these days, no?
They all use their real names, for the most part, I find. Unless you go to WWE, then they twerk it a bit. And
yeah.
Well, you guys are going to be very excited when you hear some of the wrestlers that Paul's wrestled. We'll talk about them during the show. Duarte, why don't you bring on the next guest?
Next guest is I met this guy. He's from I met him on Instagram from Glory Days of Wrestling. That's his handle there, and he does pledges for heads, makes his own figures, and then I got a couple heads off him. His name is Charlie Fritz, and he's also a former wrestler, and he's from the U.S.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to have you, man.
Now,
question: Have you guys ever wrestled each other?
No.
What state are you in?
I'm in New York.
I've wrestled for Sheldon Goldberg in Mass. I think that would be the closest I ever wrestled in New York.
Okay. Was that early 2000s?
That was 2010 to 2014 about.
That name sounds so familiar. I feel like I saw him in 2003 or 4 or something.
Well, he was in a lot of documentaries. He's a wrestling historian. He did the A&E one, the original one. I think it was what was it called? the unreal world of professional wrestling back in the 90s, the same time Beyond the Mat came out, he was featured in it.
I'm almost positive I did one of his shows in Massachusetts at some point. It sounds so familiar.
It's very possible, more than likely.
Nice.
Well, we were talking before the podcast about the Ric Flair comeback match. We were a little divided on whether he will go hard or not in that match. What do you listeners think? Do you reckon he will be going balls out and just doing backflips?
My opinion was that I think he's going to die in the ring because he's going to be too excited. Who knows what he's going to do backstage? And then he's going to get in that ring, do something. He's going to 100% a bone will be broken that match.
What about if he goes into the ring and takes his robe off and he's naked?
And he does that helicopter ride thing he did?
Yeah. Well, hell, he'd go out how he wants to go out, that's for sure. Yeah. You can't cancel Ric Flair no matter how hard you try.
True.
I think he'll go all out because it's definitely going to be his last chance, and he just loves it too much. He can't stop.
Yeah.
So absolutely agreed. He's not going to go in there and risk making a fool of himself. No. There's no way.
Nice.
I say we'll probably see some blood in this one because he's going to get color just to throw that little extra into the match because he can't do all what he used to do. So
yeah, of course.
Making a blade for sure. But
he's going to be old and saggy like everywhere. Poor guy.
As Steiner said, like a Shar-Pei puppy.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
didn't he have a stoush with Randy Orton a little while ago? The Legend Killer. I think that was a couple of years ago or something.
I think he was still wrestling at that time.
I don't know about wrestling, but he certainly got dropped by Randy.
I think you're right. It was after the Evolution reunion, but I stopped really following wrestling in 2014-ish, like religiously.
Yeah.
That's when I stopped religiously following. You guys are probably much earlier than that. But
yeah, I was about earlier. Have any of you guys wrestled any LJN characters?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty cool to hear. Charlie, since you're to my left or to your right, I can't tell which way here.
Okay.
Who have you fought?
I wrestled Beefcake.
Oh.
I wrestled Snuka. Who the hell else did I wrestle? Awesome. Oh, okay. This is better than wrestling, in my opinion. I did a Hall of Fame weekend with Roddy Piper, and I got to smoke weed with him, party with him.
Nice.
The whole weekend. So, that was one of my best memories of wrestling.
Is he a funny guy when he's stoned or what?
Oh, he's hilarious. It was like we were best friends our whole life, Nice. So that was, even though it wasn't a match, but that was probably my favorite thing from wrestling.
I agree with you because I wrestled with Demolition, Nikolai Volkoff, but it was always the road trips because Great North Wrestling would bring them in, but Montreal's usually the closest big city. And when I was working with them, I'd be their lift. So it was 2-3 hours on the road. I did 2 back-to-backs at Demolition. And picking their brain, we didn't even talk about wrestling. It was just everyday stuff. That's me at the Montreal airport with Hulk Hogan when I was, however old I was, 13 years ago. I forget.
And
that's Sylvain Grenier. He had a hand in training me, the big part of it, actually. I got into the business in 2009. I went through some training locally in 2005 with Lufisto and Drew Onyx. People might recognize those names. With Lufisto and Drew Onyx, I was 15. I was fat. I didn't have the cardio for it. So I tried again when it was 2009. My friend Jeremy, who in my opinion, unbiasedly, is the best free agent in wrestling right now. If you've ever heard of him, Jeremy Prophet, Black Dynamite, he wrestles around here. He's had matches for WWE. He's wrestled Scott Steiner. He's very well featured. I was doing road trips with him, and he got it into my head I needed to lose weight, get into shape, because it wasn't only the talking and the moves. You need to be able to carry a match, and I owe him eternally for all those road trips.
I'm just jealous you met all these wrestlers. The only guy I've seen has been Virgil.
No.
If you want to hear something worse, actually, when I was from 2005 to 2010, I traveled to it was, I think, 60-something WWE pay-per-views, right? I was young and had nothing better to do with my money, so I'd always stay at the same hotels with him. Got to hang out with a lot of people. Randy Orton, a very funny guy in real life.
Yeah.
In 2007, right before he got that mega push in that summer, him and Ken Anderson always hanging out. Funny stories with them.
Oh, Randy Poffo.
That was the first name I actually got to work with. I did a promo with him, and then I would wrestle him on his brother's tribute show in Montreal. 3 months after Macho Man had passed away, I got to work a one-on-one with him.
That's pretty cool.
And
that's in Buffalo. I remember what hotel that was at. That was at the Hyatt in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, it's HBK, is it? I can't really see with the lighting.
Yeah, it's Sean.
Is that with hair or without hair?
No, he has hair. He's not the hair balding kid yet at that point. No. I got to manage Viscera and I got to hang out with him. It was funny because I don't smoke weed. I never have. And
is that you wrestling him?
Sorry?
Is that you wrestling him there?
No, I managed him, and the whole match was a disaster. And I wasn't supposed to turn on him, but he told me we had to save the match because the match was another disaster. So I slapped him, and he gave me a Samoan drop, and I'm very happy I didn't break any ribs. But he got into that. We went out, actually, him, Samoa Joe, Jeremy Prophet, and Hernandez. We went to a chicken and rib restaurant. He had 3 racks of ribs before the show.
That name Prophet does sound familiar. Isn't that who Jacques Rougeau was talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's trained by Jacques.
So that's what it was. So that's the thing that Jacques Rougeau was talking about when he was on the podcast with his wrestling academy.
Yeah, he's one of the favorites to win it, actually. And
Right. I
do think he's going to pull it off.
Nice. Welcome to the show, Texas Rattlesnake.
Made it.
He figured what button to click and he clicked it. He loves the Cowboys. Can you tell?
For that, what a man.
I didn't think I was going to connect.
Well, welcome to the show. That's Glory Days of Wrestling. You know him, obviously. Former wrestler from the U.S. And then there's Paul Rosenberg.
How's it going, gentlemen?
How you doing today?
What's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Glory Days figures.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I did hear you mention Virgil before. You said that's the only one that you've met?
Well, yeah, I met Virgil because I went to one of those, my first and only, those convention of toys. There was one near my house. So I went. It was snowing. There was nothing to do on that Sunday. I'm like, I'm going to go. I went there all excited as him. I'm going to get good deal on toys. No deal on toys. But in the corner, I see Virgil, and I forgot how much he won. He had the belt. But I remember all the stories from all the LJN groups about thing. And I saw him there, and I just gave him one of these. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere near him.
So when
I heard that he tries to get money off you. Hey, take a picture with me. I don't want to get hot. I don't want to say Virgil. No.
How long was the line?
That's exactly what he does. He goes.
No one.
He'll go to conventions and he'll start signing a picture. If you talk to him, and he'll try to charge you for it. And it's
yeah, I said no that.
The signature is forged on Andre the Giant. There's no way he has 700 pictures of Andre the Giant signed with him and DiBiase in it.
No way.
So could Andre even hold a marker?
Yeah. So about Virgil, when I was first starting in wrestling, I started getting on more shows in different states and stuff like that. And I was getting on shows where they were constantly booking names all the time because when I first started training in 2000, in November 2000. So when I first started doing all those shows, they didn't have names on every show, Yeah. So I first met Virgil and was all excited because it was 2002. So I've only been in there for a year and a half or so.
2002. That means he was NWO at the time, no?
No, WCW had closed 2 years before that, or a year before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was I was marking out a little bit because I didn't know what to do. It's my first show I'm doing with lots of names. And I see him by the vending machine. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go up and talk to him, see if he has anything to say to me.
Oh, here we go.
So I go up and talk to him, and I'll never forget it. And he told me, he's like, you should just quit. That's what he told me.
Oh, I swear you were going to say that he was going to ask you to buy him some the vending machine.
He told me, he's like, they don't want people like you. They want big motherfuckers like The Rock, is what they said. And he's kind of right. But it was funny because I was just a young kid starting out, and he's like, just quit. That was his advice to me.
What a prick, eh?
I'm surprised he didn't say, "Hey, big man, let me hold $1."
Yeah.
Well,
there are two ways to look at it. He was either really giving you his truthful advice, or he's just an old bitter bastard.
Well,
hard to say.
I mean, at that time, they really, because I was doing a lot with Tom Pritchard, doing training with him every month for a full weekend every month. And at that time, they were really just, that's versus Too Cold Scorpio right there.
Oh, wicked. Holy shit, man.
And at that time, they really did want guys like Sean O'Hare or Chuck Palumbo and that kind of stuff. So he wasn't lying, like they did want those big guys, or Mark Jindrak. I don't know if you guys remember all those guys, but
come on. If Rey Mysterio Jr. can make it, anyone can make it at any height.
Have you seen Marco Stunt?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know who that is.
Yep.
He's like 5'2".
But it's a different era now. It's 2003 was so long ago when he was, or 2002 was so long ago when he's telling me this. Like, it's changed so much since then.
Yeah.
Kevin, is that you in a sleeper hold?
Did you you or Paul, did you guys ever hold it? Oh, that's wicked. Jimmy Snuka. Did any of you guys ever hold titles or no?
Yeah. I think I held 14 in my career.
Shit. That's amazing.
One heavyweight, mostly middleweight titles.
Nice.
Well, take your name, national, Canadian, US, whichever one they always had a different name for them, and a bunch of tag titles too.
Nice.
Yep. I basically tag team titles or cruiserweight titles for me, or like, it's all, they make up titles half the time.
Yeah.
In the indie feds, and it's like, you're the United States champion or the TV champion. And it's like,
you guys get to keep the titles or no?
No.
Oh,
only if the company closed between title defenses and they never contacted you for the belt back.
That would have been nice now, because I can see your collection behind you, Charlie, and I know that Paul has a good collection. It'd be cool to have one of your titles there,
Yeah. But no, they took them all back pretty much,
That'd be awesome to have. Yeah. There he is. Of course, he has this Australian championship, self-proclaimed champion too.
What we're talking about, champions.
Hey, why not? It's what most promoters do anyway, right?
Yeah. I don't want to be.
So from all your fights, Paul, who was your favorite? Because I've seen your Nikolai Volkoff, your Sid Demolition.
My favorite match. It wasn't a great match. I mean, he's far past his prime, and there was communication issues. He was a very nice guy, though, Sid. As of now, it's Sid's last match. That could always change, but that one's very important to me. I'd have to say my match with Demolition, though. They're my favorite tag team. Mm-hmm. The one with Carlito was good, too.
Speaking of Carlito, I'm actually getting Carlos Colon head from Charlie.
Yep. I almost forgot about that. I got you marked down, though.
That's actually Jeremy there in the picture with me. We were supposed to work with Demolition the night after, but things changed. But we did do the first match with them, and the road trip was worth it. Everybody's got a price.
Yeah,
that's amazing. You pretty much a lot of LJNs you've gone through.
Yeah,
I think I can count on one hand the people I've wanted to meet but never got to actually get a picture with.
Well, you got
Brock Lesnar, Goldberg. Actually,
I'm talking about era.
The craziest LJN story I can tell you guys with meeting a wrestler. I have the picture, and I should have sent it and thought of it, but I to my knowledge, I'm the only person to get the Ultimate Warrior to sign the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD.
Oh, wow.
How that came up was there was a pay-per-view in Long Island in 2008. I think it was called The Bash, and my friend bought 20 autograph tickets. And I wasn't going to pay money to meet the Warrior. It was like $200 or whatever. But I'm like, he asked me, do you want to meet the Warrior? I'm like, sure. He's like, just get the sign for me. And I saw the Self-Destruction. I'm like, I bet you I can get him to sign it. And then I lied to him and worked him. I said, this match made me a fan. And he signed it. And I have a picture of him signing it. That's my picture with the Ultimate Warrior. But that DVD was involved in a big lawsuit, right? So
have you still got that signed DVD?
No, it didn't belong to me. My friend bought the autograph ticket and got me to sign it. He sold it on eBay for, I think, like $1,500-$1,600 US at the time. I bet you he wish he held on to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My friend, Ray Rickefort. I'm pretty sure he's in the group actually. So if you're watching, shout out to you, Ray. Thank you for getting me to meet the Ultimate Warrior.
That's awesome. Charlie, I want to chat to you a bit more about your custom business, if you would call it that. You tell me that the way people buy off you is all, word of mouth. You haven't got an actual place where you sell your things specifically. How do you go with that? I mean, do you have enough people? Do you?
Yeah,
that's how I met him, and I actually didn't even know anyone who dealt with Charlie or Glory. It was just out of faith. I thought he had a pledge. I forgot who was it. It was King Curtis and Buddy Rogers. I think was the first ones I got off him. Yeah. And I'm like, I want these two. He told me how much, the shipping. I just sent him the money. A couple of days later, it showed up, and I was like, amazing. And because he always had random stuff on Instagram of those different matches, and I liked it, so I followed him because of that. Because he always posts like old vintage wrestling, and that was it.
Pardon my memory. I have a very bad memory. Who sculpted the Donald Trump head that I have?
I think it was Kevin.
Yeah, it's my favorite custom I have. I took my.
And he pops right up just like that.
I love it. I love it. It's a centerpiece.
That custom was huge. I got that head for a Mattel figure, and I had it scanned and blown up. And I was thinking, man, this guy's a billionaire. Why don't I make the $1 billion man?
And there you are, right there.
That's actually a newspaper reporter that actually took that picture at a rally. That's the coolest thing is I have multiple pictures, and he took one selfie with me. And there's like 30 pictures from different media outlets with me and him together. Coolest moment of my life, to be very honest.
Pretty cool.
As a Canadian
really
citizen on top of it.
If it wasn't for him, there wouldn't have been a couple WrestleManias.
If it weren't for him, there wouldn't have been a lot.
Arguably one of the top ones too. Like 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the best ones in my opinion.
Yeah. I must have watched WrestleMania 4 like 100 times as a kid. I had it on tape.
The tournament one, right?
Every match meant something. Like 5 was my personal favorite from that era, but every match meant something. There was nothing thrown together. I can go back and rewatch them, and they're all great. It's amazing how something went from being must-see TV and having rewatch value to you don't even want to be watching it now if you are watching it. And I'm not trying to be one of those that just say the business has gone to shit because it's changed. Just not my cup of tea anymore.
Well, yeah, I would agree because like when you watch those old matches, you see they're not calling every single little thing out there, so they can react to the crowd. They can hear this. They can, they can just do their job basically instead of worrying about what's coming next.
The first match that was ever completely script, like where they went move for move and planned. Does anyone here know what it is?
Macho and Steamboat, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's why that match stole the show. Randy was very meticulous about that. Lanny told me the story, but it's a well-known one that he was planning that match for 6 months.
That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
so back to the question that Zash was saying. So how did you get to the heads and you deal with Tom Veg?
Yeah.
And like you just started making what you wanted as your own figures. You're like, shit, I wish they made this guy. Yeah, like that's
Oh, yeah. Dale Wilkes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sets that I made right there.
That's awesome.
It just took forever to paint the laces, the stars, and I painted the heads and everything like that. And I don't know, I got a thing with tag teams. I really like tag team wrestling. I really like tag teams, how they look together.
Well, you said you wanted to tag team.
Furnace and LaFon, those are very nice.
So basically, it's all word of mouth, and I just somehow, I don't know how I do it. I just keep track of everybody in my messages. They either message me there or they started messaging me on Facebook. So I started going to Facebook a little bit because I haven't been on there in a long time. But yeah, I don't know. I just keep track of it, get it out to you guys. You know,
for those guys who don't know, to get a person to sculpt a head costs quite a bit of money. It's
$200. Yeah.
It's not a cheap exercise. So when you're getting a library of heads, you're looking at, okay, so you've got 10 heads. Well, that's $2,000. It all starts to really add up. So it takes almost 10 heads of sales of each one to actually break even. So it is a bit of a labor of love. And those people who think that we're making millions when we get heads sculpted and we sell them to you for however much it is, $20, $30, $40, whatever people charge. If you think we're making a fortune, we're not. We're just really doing this because we want to get the heads out there. We want to get new figures made. We want to see you guys make figures. And sorry, I put up a family picture there.
He has a Psycho Sid smile there.
But yeah, guys, look, what Charlie's doing here is fantastic. If you want to get any of his heads, which are sculpted by the great Tom Veg, one of the best in the game, honestly, contact him through Glory Days of Wrestling. I think Instagram's the best way because I've messaged him on Facebook and he still hasn't seen that bloody message. So Instagram, he answered.
I'm just, you know, to be honest, I stopped social media a long time ago and I just started it up to do this kind of stuff. So.
Same.
That's why it's called Instagram. It's instant messaging.
Well, hold on. Since we're talking about this, let me show you guys some stuff. So I just got a few. First of all, my printer, the resin vat broke yesterday, so I got to fix that before I do any more prints. But I was able to get, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is Rene Goulet. I got an LJN size.
That's wicked, man. I can't wait to get that one, man.
I hope you've got a screen. I hope you got a screen protector on that machine, mate, because once those vats pop.
Yeah, well, I was looking for a screen protector, and I talked to Anna Kubik about it, and they said they don't make one for my model. But then I was looking at some other ones, like secondhand, and they said it will fit. But then I saw a lot of bad reviews saying, "Oh, it gets dust under it and it doesn't work right." And
just get one on there, man.
Okay.
Honestly, I've already been through one screen already, and I will not think without a screen protector from now on. Go on, have you got an Anycubic X or?
I have I think it's a Mono SE.
SE. So you got the smaller one, mate. They're everywhere. They're on eBay. Just look up screen protector on eBay. You get.
You know what? That's what happened to my first printer. It leaked and it broke it. So
yeah.
But here's Tony Gurria got as well. Can you guys see it good? Or
now we're talking.
Hold on. Let me make your screen bigger.
Okay. Is it like washing it out or something?
Yeah. Put your hand over the top. Hand over the top. That's
there you go.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah.
Yeah. Straight out of New Zealand.
You can straight away see that it's a VEG head.
Yeah, that's his LJN size right here. Here, let me show you this. I don't know if it will show up. So we got the LJN size, and then here's a Mattel I recently got done painting.
Oh yeah, you see the big difference.
Awesome.
So,
Very nice.
Beautiful.
And then I got one other one, and it's.
Do you prefer the older wrestlers?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I make mostly 70s and 80s.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really liked 80s wrestling the most, you know. That's when I loved it. I loved it in the 90s too, because I was born in 83. So I grew up watching, my uncles were watching it in the 80s. I was watching it with them. And then in the 90s, I watched it all the time. But here's a Mattel. There's a Damien Demento, one painted and one LJN size right there.
Okay.
So those are the newest ones I haven't showed off yet.
Yeah, fantastic. Get on there, guys. Have a look. Glory Days of Wrestling on Instagram. He's got a lot of heads. How do we even see what heads you've got, though?
Yeah, I really should make a website, right?
Just look through his page and you'll find it.
Well, I did. They're not there.
Usually,
are you blind? You just
no. I look. You haven't got him there, Charlie.
So usually people message me. They like, "What do you have available?" And I just send them a list. Usually.
He shares like all like wrestling pictures and stuff like that on there.
Yeah.
No, he has pledge pictures there.
Yeah,
I'm 100%. You have it. That's how I see the pledge that he has, and I saw that
maybe I didn't scroll down long enough then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I should maybe I should make a highlight reel of all the sculpts I have and put it on there or something like that.
Yeah, do something because you've got a library full of amazing heads now, and to be honest with you, I'll probably buy a few of them as well. So, mate,
awesome.
Yeah, get them out there, and you've got a lot of heads that of wrestlers that haven't been made in
right here.
LJN. And that's the crazy thing.
And Curtis.
I know the Texas Rattlesnake will be a fan of a lot of your wrestlers as well because he's an old school sort of dude.
He gets all the old guys that you don't even like. I don't even know because I'm from Canada. There's a lot of guys I didn't know, but the Texas Rattlesnake makes guys I didn't even know, and I have to Google. I'm like, oh, that's who it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, with that one pledge, when I did like Gorgeous George and Buddy Rogers and all that whole pledge, I was trying to think because Warsman has done so many. And I was like, what hasn't he touched yet? And it was that era, like Luthez and that stuff. So I was like, let me get on these guys, and not only that, none of them had figures before. Mm-hmm. So I figured, why not? Let's do this,
Last time I talked to you, I was asking about Sandman.
What's that?
Last time I talked to you, I was asking about a Sandman head.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Warsman, he has that. He owns that file. But I have painted people before.
Do you reckon you can get Veg to sculpt a head of this?
Yeah, $200.
He has to have the smoke as well. Somehow.
Oh, man. That was a good one, man. Oh, my God.
Look at that.
Oh, my God.
He's had a shave. He's looking so much cleaner.
I know. I had to cut it off.
The winter beard's gone, or playoff beard, rather.
Speaking of Duarte, before we go on to a bit more from you, Paul, I just want to show a little clip of Duarte. He's taken up a new sport. Look at that.
Run it, boy! Run it!
Look at this second place. Look at go! Look at go! You wait for it? We are!
I've never played baseball in my life. I pulled my hamstring, my quads, the second game, and then my back was sore. It's such a tough sport.
Yeah.
You rounded them bases like Ricky Henderson.
First time playing. That was my first time batting in my life.
Really?
You're more athletic than I am, I promise.
Besides batting cage, that's the first time I hit it in a slow pitch, mind you. It's whatever. And I just hit it, and I thought I was going to be out. And then when I had to run to second, my legs gave out. As soon as I stopped running, I was like, oh, my God, this is going to hurt.
You're
not supposed to have designated runners in softball.
No, but I asked. And I could have a pinch hitter from now on. Like I could, if I don't want to run the bases afterwards, I get someone else. It's allowed.
I've blown my hamstrings out playing football. That shit ain't no fun.
No, it's not. I'm not old, but I'm turning 39, and that run tore all my legs.
Yeah,
you're middle aged. You're not old. Don't worry.
Maybe you should have stretched before the game instead of having a few sports.
I drive for a living, so anytime I do anything athletic, I get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
I get hurt getting up and going to the truck in the morning. That's how beat up I am.
Do you have the whole LJN? No, eh?
No, I don't.
I see them to your left, so I thought you had the whole collection with you.
The only ones I don't have, let's see. The only ones I don't have is Warlord, Warrior, the Blackstrap Andre, and which I don't.
You're talking about the whole Black Series you don't have.
And I don't have the Blue Referee. So I just can't justify spending the money on them. I can't.
You're crazy. Like I said, the only place you could find them now is garage sales, and that's it. Like going to antique stores and stuff like that's impossible. I've talked to Paul about it. The only way to find it is garage sales, and that's where you're going to find a deal.
So
because everyone checks the internet now for the prices. Yeah. I remember back when I was first learning to wrestle in 2003 with Lufisto and Onyx. There was a flea market attached to it, and I remember I was walking by Andre the Giant, the Blackstrap. And I'm like, $30. Who the hell's gonna pay $30 for Andre the Giant? And I'd laugh. And I passed the whole Black Card series like 20 times in 2 years, and kicking myself in the ass now.
Yeah. Well, so a good yard sale story. Actually, I have to put my wife over for this. This was probably like maybe 10 years ago or more, right? So I'm at work and she's like, "Oh, I got you a box of wrestlers at a yard sale." And I'm just thinking like it's gonna be like, I don't know, bone crunching Titantrons or something. And I get home and she got this box for $15. All right. It had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, LJN, Haku, LJN, a bunch of the regular LJNs. It had Slick, LJN. It had like all those guys like that. So like we're getting Haku. Oh, Ravishing Rick Rude, LJN. It had in there $15. It had Axe in there. And I think that was it of the rare ones that it had in there. But it had some Hasbro's in there too.
Definitely got your money's worth.
$15, right? Isn't that insane?
And that's 15 US, not Canadian or Australian, US.
Yeah. That's like 900 Canadian, though.
Exactly.
Let's be real, dude.
Yeah.
I was at a yard sale and I saw this box of G.I. Joes and they said 50 cents a piece. So I looked in the box. I saw probably a couple dozen. I said, I'll take the whole box. She's like, $30. I said, all right. She says, there's a big one in the bottom. I thought it was one of them big ones with the Kung Fu grip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started digging through there, and it was a damn Hasbro Melloway Slaughter.
Oh, really?
Shot
Wow.
dog. That is probably the best way to think.
Yeah.
And
I
his
remember
hat was broken off, but that's okay.
I remember getting my Slaughter, and I remember I got it in 2006 on eBay. 2006-7 on eBay. I paid $100 US plus shipping on eBay, and I was like, "Fuck, it's so expensive." But that was the last one I needed because I got my collection a long time ago. Fucking George keep falling. What's it called? What's it called again? I paid $100 for that damn Slaughter, and I was in 2006. It was always expensive, so you definitely got a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, anybody
That's
would
the dream.
grab that right now. You know, if there's
Here's the
$100.
thing: I sold them GI Joes for like $150. So
Pardon?
I sold that box of Joes for $150.
You think you could have got more? Because I know nothing about toys except for LGNs, and that's about it. But I think
I'm
they're
impatient. I hate waiting on people. They're like, "What do you give me? All right, take it."
Yeah.
I just wanted that Slaughter.
Yeah.
A comment from Ben Ventura. He doesn't want to be called that. Smash Ventura. We're living in the 1980s. Look them up on YouTube. It's a great show. We're living in the 1980s with Smash Ventura. Thanks for watching, Smash. You're a great supporter of ours. So I want to just shoot back over to Paul for a little while. Paul, we've talked about your wrestling career a little bit, and we do have a couple of more pictures to show here.
Harley Race.
WrestleMania
And,
26 in Phoenix. It was outside the TV hotel. That was the great thing about WrestleMania is all the legends went, and most of them aren't with us anymore, right? I as I said, that's that's the big one. Met him 8 times. That's my favorite picture with him, though.
Look at that hair.
Yeah, that's why I was
yeah. That's why if I did a sculpt on my head, like which hair would I choose? I had the afro, the long hair. I have a short hair now. Sheiky baby.
Everyone loves Cheeky.
He said he'd give me a picture only if I carried his bags to his car because he hurt his back. That's not even a joke. Please carry my bags. I hurt my back. And
Carry my baggage, Bubba.
that was in Boston. It's
Nice.
amazing I can remember all these places.
Well, I mean, you grow up watching them,
And a picture, you remember it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, Boston was very expensive to stay in, though. That hotel, I think, ran me $300 US a night.
Wow.
Well worth the money.
I see you guys put up that Harley Race picture. So, 2007, I went and trained in Missouri with Harley Race at his place, basically, and they were so awesome down there. And his wife was still around back then, of course he was, and she would like do our laundry for us, because I was there for like a week and a half training with him, and it was just great there. And the funny story I remember is when I was hanging out with Roddy Piper, he told me that Harley Race is the one that taught him how to pass a joint in a dark car on a road trip, so you won't drop it. So I tried to bring up that conversation I said that to Harley. I started saying that to Harley Race, and he shut me up right away because he didn't want me saying any of that stuff in front of his wife at all. And I almost blew up his spot, but it's just really cool, like picturing those guys on a road trip. He's like, yeah, Harley taught me how to do this while we're driving down a mountain and it's snowing and we're going 90. And I was like, these guys are just insane,
Of course, they're living their life. The 80s, the 70s and 80s, they're wrestling. They're the biggest thing out there too. Of course. in the 80s, I was 1-2 years old when I was in the 80s, but they're living life.
Yeah.
They're
Just
movie
imagine
stars.
living back then and being a wrestler back then. You're definitely a rock star, you know, like,
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I know at world class, those wrestlers were more famous than any Dallas Cowboy, Texas Ranger, Dallas Maverick, any of them.
Even today, everyone's more famous than the Dallas Cowboys.
Oof.
I don't know one fan of the Dallas Cowboys, actually.
No, one guy.
They've got 5 rings, so
I'm
they
just
ain't no
messing with you.
scrubs.
I love the trash talk.
You got to do it.
Paul.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned before that if a certain match popped up, you'd be ready to go. Or was that Charlie? Was that Charlie or Paul?
That was.
That was. Yeah, I said I wouldn't. Like the thing is, because I'm not doing it full time anymore. My last match was before COVID. It was a week before, where I would do a match every 2-3 months just to stay in ring shape. I don't mind doing matches with legends because you're not going to pass the opportunity. Number one, number two, they work slow, they work safe, and they can keep up with me, and I can keep up with them. So it's also very enjoyable. And I really have to thank Hannibal for all the opportunity he gave me. He could have picked anybody to give these matches to. He picked me.
Nice.
I'm sure you guys know Great North Wrestling. Hannibal TV. He does all the shoot interviews.
Okay.
So what is your gimmick? Like, how'd you get the name and everything? Like, what's the backstory?
Cheap Heat, because everyone here, because I'm in Quebec, right? You're in my neighboring province. Everyone here is French, pretty much for the most part. So anything they're unfamiliar with gets Cheap Heat. So there was no Jewish characters. I'm not Jewish. I'm Italian, but I played the Jewish character, and people were yelling all sorts of things at me. Very, very fun. I like to be hated. It's so much easier to be hated. All you have to do is tell people the truth, and they get pissed off at you.
Yeah, being the heel is the best part. Yeah, you could be a good guy or a face, and you get those fans, but getting a boo and get hated is way better.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is, you could be yourself and just tell the truth, and people get upset. Most of these people, I can't stand them. Everyone says, "Oh, I thank the fans. I don't like them." I'm sorry, I don't.
I mean, you have to be nice.
When I was a promoter, I liked them. When I ran shows, I liked them because they were paying to come into the show. When I wrestled for someone else, they didn't give a shit about them.
Yeah.
And you, Charlie, what were you a face or a heel?
I was both. I mean, I wrestled for 16 years, so I was all over the place. When I was super young, I started when I just turned 17. So, but I really love doing heel because you got to be nice to people, in your everyday life, and then you can come out and just be the biggest prick to everybody.
Take the rage out of your everyday life out on unsuspecting people. It's the way to go.
And another thing is I liked acting like a coward some of the times, because that would really get under their skin, and then I'd act tough to them, but not tough to my opponent, and that would really
did a good job. Did a good job as a heel.
You act tough after you get the good heat spot in where you clearly cheated to get the advantage, right? Yeah. And that really pissed them off. It was so much fun. Yeah. I agree with you. Being a heel is so much better.
The one thing about heel is not only do you get to do that, but I really like controlling the match. So for the most part, I've done it a lot, especially when I was younger, like calling it in the back. But if you want to go out there and just do most of it in the ring, like when you're the heel, you have more control over how the match flows.
That's it. So, I never called my heat. I never called my heat either. I saw call it in the ring, and we got the few hopes in there. We planned that. That's how I did it too.
Yeah, that's what I love the most. Just going out there and just doing it. Not worrying about what is this guy gonna do or what am I gonna do. I'm just gonna do the match and feel the crowd and do what's natural in the moment. That's what made me have fun when I was doing that kind of stuff.
Is there? I mean, you mentioned before how you didn't like the crowd, Paul, but a controversial question here. I mean, wrestling for me when I was a kid was fantastic. As you get older, a lot of you guys said you sort of stop watching and this and that. We become adults, and I don't know, wrestling is almost a thing for the kids. But do you get a lot of the older guys watching it that are kind of on the strange side? Because
I get, yes, my wife actually witnessed it. there was a stalker for 20 years, and he still comes around every so often. That guy is that since 2005, so it's close to 20 years, right? But my wife witnessed this one instance. A fan, I took the guardrail. I'm laying there, and he started just groping me. It was like a 60-year-old guy, and yeah, my wife was gonna strangle him, but she didn't, and the security took care of it because it was very uncomfortable.
I can imagine there would be a bit of that because people who don't know me and see that, hold on, he collects wrestling figures, he makes wrestling figures, you know, it's not exactly the thing you'd bring up on a first date or anything like that to pick up a chick, you know what I mean? It's not exactly the coolest thing in the world to some people. So I do imagine there is a lot of strange dudes out there that, you know, collect wrestling figures and are into wrestling and all that kind of thing as they get older.
You know
For
what
me, I'm
conversation?
perfectly normal. I'm absolutely perfectly normal. Look,
You know what I told my wife before she came over for the first time? I said, listen, you got to understand something. She knew I liked wrestling. She liked wrestling too. I said, I have a very big wrestling figure collection. I had all the classic superstars, series 1 to whatever, 20 something. And they're all hanging on my wall, and she couldn't even believe it when she seen it. I just don't understand the stalker. Why would you stalk me? Have you seen what I look like? I'm one ugly bastard, and you're stalking me. Go stalk someone else and bother them.
It was because of your hair. It was your hair that did it.
Yeah, that hair.
if you could stalk anyone, wouldn't it be this dude? Hey, by the way, I'm definitely trying to become like Dwight because I know a lot of people like him, but look at the size of that thing, Dwight. Look at how
Look at that. That's a joint for ants.
look at that. That got me smashed.
But don't you?
I've never been high. I've never smoked it, but that wouldn't get me high, I'm sure.
Josh, do you paint better?
Crumbs in it.
Josh, do you paint better on it or no?
Hey?
Do you paint better on it or no?
I usually get lazy on it. If I come in with all, I go, oh, I've got to do all this and this and this. So I'll go have a little token. I have a token. I come back and go, fuck that.
That's the opposite for me because I don't smoke anymore. I can't smoke anymore. So I have the stuff you put in your liquid, the tincture or whatever it is, and I take that and I paint like crazy. And then the next day I'm like, wow, I did that.
What is it? What do you drink? Alcohol?
No, it's so this is alcohol and THC. So basically you got this little tincture, it's a little bottle, you put some in there, and then it's the same thing without smoking it. So
never heard of such a thing. Are we just kept in the dark in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's legal here in Canada now, but you have to buy it from the government, right? So you can't go to your local weed dealer anymore and say, hey, I need this or that. You have to go to the actual, they got to make their money off of it or you're not allowed to do it. That's how it works, right? But is it legal in New York State now?
No. But no, I go to Massachusetts and I grab it from their dispensary.
Yeah, Massachusetts.
So having that drink is like having a hash cookie or something.
Yeah.
We're making progress. About half the states have it.
Yeah. I know for sure Massachusetts has it because I was there.
Yeah. So
I remember
in Tennessee, they sell Delta 8 and Delta 10.
Yeah.
But you can't buy Delta 9.
I don't even know what that
is.
What's
it's
Delta?
like saying,
What's
it's
Delta?
like drinking wine, beer, and whiskey. You're going to get a buzz.
Yeah, I took that once. I was at a wedding and I was in Florida in October, and they had that at the store, and that's what I took for the wedding.
What is Delta? What is Delta?
I don't know what it was, but it did the trick.
THC Delta 9 is what gets you high.
Yeah. So,
but they've done something to make it Delta 8 or Delta 10, just so they could sell it legally.
Damn America!
Yeah.
God bless it.
You know what conversation I've had about the wrestling thing? They're like, you're a grown-ass man. Why do you like wrestling so much? It's fake. And I was like, yeah, this is coming from the guy that reads comic books, watches fictitious movies, watches the news. All that shit's fake.
Yeah, that's it. The news is the fakest thing out there.
Yeah, they're going to get on me about wrestling. I like the storylines.
Yeah.
I like the choreography. I know a bunch of wrestlers personally, and it ain't an easy thing to do.
I just wish
traveling. You got to remember a lot of stuff, work out. I mean, a lot of pain.
I just wish the storyline would go longer.
Like what storyline?
Like, like storylines of like wrestlers, like it goes from one pay-per-view to another.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I wish it lasted longer, like how the Hogans and the Macho Men would.
In the old days, how
that,
it did.
Yeah.
That was the problem with 12 pay-per-views, and eventually I think they had 18 at one point. Is you have to give a payoff pretty quickly. Also, the attention spans of people with the ADD and the ADHD it's not what it used to be, right? Like people give up very quickly.
Yeah.
That you can't hold their attention, right? Especially in WWE TV, where things change week to week. I think I read online there was like 4 NXT kidnappings in a week or something.
Yeah. Well, look at Sting and Undertaker. People like that. They go for so long that they got to keep reinventing themselves and changing their gimmick.
That's it.
It's hard to have a long storyline.
You have to keep reinventing. Mosquito in the truck. I think you have to keep reinventing yourself. Like Undertaker did it. All the best have done it. And if they haven't, people have gone sick of them, right? Like Hogan, for example, he never he changed in the NWO, right? But that was in a different company. But that was people's complaints about people that stuck around too long and didn't change. It was the same old shit, so to say. John Cena, for example. Super nice to me. Cena knew me by name. I've met Cena over 30 times, and nicest guy in the world, but character on TV was very dull.
It was a larger than life character scene back in the 1980s. You had Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior. The list goes on. You could keep storylines going forever with them dudes, and they will just keep it interesting. These days, if you've got Randy Orton versus who help me out here, guys?
Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley.
I don't want to keep that interesting for, they've had a match, they've had a rematch, and then you just sort of like, do we keep going with this? It's like repeating itself almost. They can't renew themselves like they did back in the day. That's my opinion.
Look at Demolition X. He was mass superstar. He was one of the Mongolians.
Yeah, I think another part of it is, like you said, people don't have the attention span, because what they really should do is they got to draw it out, because you don't need every guy on the show every time, in my opinion.
No.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But with three hours of Monday Night Raw, and it's a business, right? So they're taking the revenue from the 3 hours versus 2, but their product is suffering from it.
Yeah. That's why there's so much talking.
Yeah.
Did you see them wrestling with monitors all around the ring?
Oh yeah.
I couldn't watch that shit for 1 minute.
No, without the fans, it's not the same at all.
Oh man, it was terrible.
You need the fans.
Charlie, have you made a custom of yourself? Speaking.
No, I haven't. No.
And Zash has. I've made one of myself. I even got Joe Garrett to make one of me. I know Paul. I know Paul wants a custom of himself.
Yeah. I just don't know what hairdo I'm gonna do with it. I'm thinking about it.
I'm gonna make one of me. I got to get me another Bundy figure.
Nah, you'd be. I reckon you'd be a Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, RCD.
RCD, yeah.
Why not?
Actually, I got an RCD coming up from Tom very soon.
I got some New Balance I'll put on. I hate RCD's feet. Those goofy tennis shoes.
I would love to see the accessories you put with you, man.
Probably a bong and a I don't know. A bong and a remote control.
Speaking of accessories, mate, you've become the king of accessories after your competition entry.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun, man.
How you did them?
I was looking at it was like a burger, hot dog, no popcorn.
Nachos.
Was it all popcorn or no?
He made
a bucket of chicken, some donuts, a hamburger, a hot dog.
The donuts were made out of Cheerios.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
I made all the food accessories, and people were like, "Oh man, did you get those at Michael's or Hobby Lobby?" It's like, shit, no. It's what took me a month and a half was making the food.
They were all edible. Speaking of the competition, we want to send a big congratulations out to Claudio Paroli for winning the second tournament of 2022 with his Demolition. Probably one of the best customs we've seen.
That was a
He's,
the setup. The setup.
I don't.
Benito style.
The one that.
Sorry.
No, the one that really that. Trump was my favorite custom I have because I always liked when it's not a wrestler. I really liked the Alice Cooper and Jake the Snake. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
And
because
that
was WrestleMania.
Come in second place on that one.
WrestleMania 3, no?
Yeah, I believe so. It was WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So, guys, we're talking about these. I don't go on Facebook that much, right? So I did.
Good for you. Really good for you. Stay the hell off of there. I do my best too.
I saw the Demolition. I saw the Jake the Snake and Alice Cooper, and those looked amazing. Like that's a perfect setup to have Demolition doing a move like that. I think like to have on your shelf to look at or something like that. But so you guys are making LJN customs. I've only painted them. I haven't done anything with the heads. So what do you guys do to the necks and stuff like that to get it looking as good as you do?
You put epoxy and you sand.
So you cut the head off, you leave the neck, right?
It's kind of like doing drywall when you tape over, when you tape in bed.
See the head? See the head to the neck?
Yeah, just like that. You just smooth it out.
Yeah, smooth it out and then you sand away.
They look great. They look great when you guys do that.
Lots of great work being done out there.
Yeah.
Especially when you're chopping around and like you're making crazy things and just getting the head on is pretty cool. But that Demolition was insane. Like the positioning of it, all he needed was the ring.
Yeah.
And that would have been a crazier picture. And I forgot who was even doing the move to. Like, was it a Heart Foundation guy or no?
Tito.
A Tito, that's what it was.
Yeah. So, yeah, brilliant. It was a lot of people probably thought that was Jason Espedito because he's renowned for doing these action ones. But it's kind of rubbing off on people. So we're probably going to see a lot more action shots or action customs in the upcoming years to come, I guess.
It all started with that Macho Man elbow drop.
That was in Custom Mania. Correct. Exactly. That the DDP got.
No, that was Jason. It was Jason Esposito that did that.
No, but you won that one.
Oh yes, I'm saying, but that Jason, he's the one who did the King Haku, and the Coronation.
Yep,
he did some good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never done an action pose. I might try me one.
Here we go. He's gonna enter a move, and it's gonna be a wrestler. It's gonna be a wrestler that people don't know.
Probably.
Probably gonna be pretty
but
hard.
I don't know what people know because my territory was international. So I feel like everybody should know world class. They were showing world class in Kenya, Saudi Arabia, Cambodia, everywhere.
Paul, were they showing it here in Canada or no?
I believe so.
I don't remember seeing it much.
Quebec is very different than the rest of Canada, right? Like the Rougeaus really had a stronghold on Quebec, and with Lutte International 2000 and Grand Prix, if you didn't provide the announcing in French, they probably didn't show in Quebec, but I do believe they had it in the rest of Canada.
Man, Quebec's put out some good wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
awesome.
It is an Andre shirt.
You look at the history of Quebec, like Andre started here. I know he's from France, but Andre started pretty much here. Dino Bravo, the Rougeaus, Chris Benoit was born
Rick
here.
Martel.
He lived here until he was 12. Rick Martel, Kevin Owens, who I've actually wrestled Kevin Owens. He wrestled for my dad too, and my dad promoted for a brief period. A very, very nice man.
Aren't the Vachons French Canadian?
Actually, some of them live in Vermont. But they are French, yeah. I know Luna was born in Vermont, actually, so
Renee
she's American.
Goulet?
Renee Goulet, definitely Quebecer.
PC, what was that guy's name?
Pierre Carwillette.
Yeah, that John Lafitte guy.
Yeah, the pirate.
Yep.
I didn't know that was the same person for a long time. When Jean-Pierre Lafitte turned into one of the Quebecers. I didn't know that was that big swole dude at Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he's that's when I wrestled Sid. He travels with Sid. They're best friends, actually. I was supposed to work a match with Pierre, but it didn't end up working out. It was supposed to be 3 months after, but I forget why it fell through, but it did. But who else would be from Quebec? We have a very long wrestling heritage here. El Generico, of course. Sami Zayn. I never got to wrestle him.
What about Joe LeDuc?
Joe LeDuc, Quebecer. Actually, his his nephew Carl still runs promotions. Still promotes.
So where was Maple Leaf out of?
Calgary, so the complete West Coast almost. Wait, Maple Leaf.
No, that was
Stampede.
Maple Leaf was at what's his name again?
Tunney, I think.
Jack Tunney, and it was here.
Yeah, it was Toronto. That's it. The Maple Leaf Gardens. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I always like the atmosphere of watching that building, the Maple Leaf Gardens. It just looks cool to me, you know.
Yeah,
where in New York are you from?
I'm about an hour south of Albany.
Okay, so Albany's about 3 hours for me.
Yeah, well, I know you guys.
Albany's our closest major city. We go there for Dave and Buster's, or we used to. It's a bit complicated now to travel, but been to Dave and Buster's many times.
Yeah.
The kid loves it.
Yeah, Maple Leaf Wrestling was the one that had the walkout aisle too, no?
Yeah, flat, straight with the ring, kind of like WCW had for a little while. Yeah,
that was good. Yeah,
the lighting in there was nice too.
I never been to it. I was too young to go to that when that came around. I don't think I was even in the country. I was in Portugal, probably.
Oh, really?
By that time, I think Jack Tunney was done with the WWF.
Man, Vince McMahon
what year was
gobbled
that
up too.
Pardon?
Vince McMahon gobbled up that territory too.
Might as well.
He gave the good guys jobs at least. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, all right, we've been an hour into the show, guys. We're going to wrap things up. I want to thank both of you boys for coming on the show. You've been very interesting and great to talk to. I also want to give everyone the heads up. The next Elite Customs tournament is on in around about 8 weeks. So if you haven't already started thinking about your next figure, get thinking, get cracking on it. We'll have another great show on the next one. Guys, Charlie, Paul, Dwight, and Kevin, thanks for joining us. We'll see you all next time on LJN Fight Night Podcast.
Thank you.